Hello everyone and welcome back to another Star Wars The Black Series action figure review. Continuing our celebration of 25 years of Star Wars Episode 1 The Phantom Menace, we're taking a look at Padmé Amidala today. Now, of the entirety of her wardrobe, I'll be honest, this version of Padmé was pretty far down my list of outfits that I was hoping Hasbro would tackle in the Black Series, but it is action oriented, so I'll give them a pass. This is of course based on Queen Amidala's appearance towards the end of the movie as she leads the attempt to infiltrate Theed and capture Nute Gunray. Hasbro, it's got to be said, absolutely nailed this one. The head sculpt, the accessories, execution of the costume, everything here is really well done, and if you're a prequel fan, you're going to want this figure. It's far better in my opinion than the Battle of Geonosis version from a few years ago, and hopefully it opens the door to many more Padmé figures in the Black Series. Now, we are going to dive into this review in just a little bit. Before we do, as always, if you'd like to purchase this figure for yourself, she's available to buy at staractionfigures.co.uk, and there's a link down below in the video description if you'd like to grab one for yourself. Also, once again, a huge thanks goes out to the team at Hasbro UK for making this review possible, and thanks to them I'll have some really cool Black Series figures to show you in some of my forthcoming reviews, so stay tuned for those. So without further ado, let's dive into this one, and we'll kick things off in this review by taking a look at the packaging that she comes in. So as you can see, pretty standard stuff with regards to the packaging that Padmé comes in. If you've seen one Black Series box, you've pretty much seen them all. The one thing that does of course separate this one from the rest is the fact that you've got this really nice illustration down the spine of the box. This depicts Padmé, again, really nicely detailed image. You've got the Theed Palace there in the background, of course the character name down at the bottom, and this copper trim all around the edges of the box, which indicates the figure and character is from The Phantom Menace. On the back, you've got a brief description of the character, that image once again, and the number in the Black Series line. This is the third figure from The Phantom Menace to be released in this style Black Series packaging. Jar Jar Binks, of course, being the first, Anakin being the second, and the Destroyer Droid being the fourth. It's really cool that we're finally getting some prequel love, and it's not come at a better time because of course we are celebrating 25 years of The Phantom Menace in 2024, so long may it continue. So here we have the figure out of the box, and this doesn't happen very often, but I can honestly say I have absolutely zero issues with this figure. As I mentioned, the head sculpt is superb. It captures the likeness of a young Natalie Portman incredibly well. If we get a closer look, the photoreal paint applications, for example, really highlight some of the finer details in the face, even down to the beauty marks on the cheek, which is really cool. The hair is sculpted beautifully, and once again, it's just a really faithful likeness to Natalie Portman. It's such a phenomenal head sculpt. Hasbro are killing it in that department as of late. The detail in the face does continue down into the costume as well. The dress itself has a really nice sculpted texture to it, which looks really nice. It's also this really nice red colour, which stands out on your shelf, of course. The sleeves, the joints on this are a little bit tight. The sleeves are nice and big and billowy as well. But as you can see, you've got all these sculpted folds and creases, which really assist in helping the dress look natural, despite the pose that you put it in. So even if you raise the arms, or put them by her side, these don't look silly. It looks nice, natural, and really cool. Again, on shelf, she's got great presence. She looks really nice. The detail that we get in the dress, as I said, it's got this really nice sculpted texture to it. But that detail does continue into this gold trim around the edges of the dress as well, which as you can see has its own intricately ornate details which just look really nice. Again, absolutely phenomenal detail on this one, and you get a better appreciation of that detail with this gold trim down the skirt. We also have some silver paint to highlight some of the detail on the belt buckle as well. And one element of this figure that really did surprise me is the fact that Hasbro weathered the boots. Now, they didn't have to do that, but they did, although it does perplex me a little bit as to why they did this, but they didn't weather Anakin Skywalker that we took a look at in my last review. But be that as it may, it is what it is. You could say it's a surprise to be sure, but a welcome one. Pick us prequel memes. But yeah, in terms of overall look, absolutely phenomenal figure. She looks really, really good. Padmé is also really well accessorised. She includes the expected ELG-3A blaster pistol, which we'll take a look at in just a moment, but she also features an S5 heavy blaster pistol, which is a really cool addition. This is the blaster typically used by the Royal Naboo security forces, and again, it's really nicely sculpted. You've got all the appropriate paint applications there. You've got silver on the scope, black on the barrel, and a brown wooden handle. That looks really, really cool, and she holds the blaster well in her hand. And as I mentioned, she does also come with her ELG-3A Royal Blaster Pistol, which is this weapon here. And you'll notice as well, Hasbro even went to the effort of including an extra hand for her to hold this blaster. Naturally, the ELG-3A has a much narrower handle, and so another hand was necessary in order for her to hold that without it falling out. This is awesome, and something I really, really wish we'd see more of in the Black Series. Hasbro definitely set a precedent with the Cantina band members by including several different hands to hold all the different instruments. This would be really nice if they continued it with other figures as well, so that they could hold all their weapons and accessories correctly. The blaster itself, as you can see, is sculpted in a sort of matte silver plastic, which does make it look a little bit like a toy. The screen used prop did have a wooden, or at least a brown handle, which is missing from this one. It's been overlooked, but at the expense of an added paint application, Hasbro did include a retractable barrel on the blaster, which I think is an unbelievable detail. That's not something they had to include, but they did, and I really, really appreciate it. Again, little details like that, additional hands, they go a long way to really make you feel like you're getting your money's worth with this figure. And even despite that detail, this is a figure that I definitely feel I got great value for money with if I'd paid for it, which I didn't. Again, thank you, Hasbro. But yeah, amazing figure. Really, really well done. Again, detail, accessories, everything is absolutely fantastic. Now, in terms of articulation, she does come with all the usual articulation we'd expect from a Black Series 6-inch figure. We have a ball joint at the head, and once again we've got that ball joint in the base of the head and at the bottom of the neck, which allows for free-flowing and realistic movement. She does of course feature hinges at the shoulders, no swivel at the bicep, but we do have a hinge at the elbow. As you saw earlier, these are a little bit tight, so just be careful with those. We do have hinges at the wrists as well, a nice fluid ball joint at the torso. Ball hinges at the hips, no swivel cut at the upper thigh, which is something that's been omitted from most recent Black Series figures. We have a hinge at the knee and a hinge and rocker at the ankle as well. So like I said, standard for the most part articulation, everything we'd expect, and you can get this one in some really, really cool poses. And I think for me, the main selling point of this one not only is the detail, the head sculpt, but also the fact that she can hold both weapons in both hands, which is awesome. Really, really nice. So yeah, an absolutely phenomenal figure. So that's a wrap on the Queen of Naboo herself, Padmé Amidala. Once again, if you'd asked me to pick a version of Padmé to drop into the Black Series line, I'd have probably picked one of her more elaborate outfits, the iconic red throne room gown, her black travelling gown, or Senate gown. They're probably the three that instantly spring to mind. I'd also really like to see Hasbro tackle the peasant disguise and immortalise that in 6-inch scale. But as I say, hopefully this figure opens the door for many more Padmé releases down the line. For the time being though, this is a phenomenal addition to, so far, a pretty slim run of Phantom Menace figures in the Black Series, and fingers crossed we see a lot more going forward, and of this excellent quality as well. So once again, if you want to pick this figure up for yourself, link down below in the video description. Thanks again goes out to Hasbro for making this review possible, and I'll be back with many more really cool Black Series 6-inch figures very, very soon. Until then, as always, thank you for watching, keep collecting, and may the Force be with you.